My husband and my best friend tried to take my unborn child. I never thought my life would sound like the plot of a bad TV drama. I used to roll my eyes at those stories online where someone says, "You wouldn't believe what happened to me." But here I am. 4 years of marriage, 2 years of trying for a baby, one positive test that changed everything, and two men, my husband and my best friend, who tried to take it all away. My name is Sasha. I'm 31, and until last year, I thought I had everything I'd ever wanted: a stable marriage, a good job, a quiet house with a little garden, and a husband who made me laugh when life got too heavy. Silas and I met in college. He was the calm, grounded one, the man who made plans while I dreamed. I thought he'd be my forever. For 2 years, we tried to have a baby. Every month was heartbreak. Every test that came back negative was another piece of my hope crumbling. I cried. I blamed myself. I even blamed fate. Silas was supportive, at least at first. But slowly, I could see the frustration in his eyes. The way he stopped talking about names, how he brushed off doctor appointments. When I finally got pregnant, I remember that night so clearly. I walked into the living room holding the test like it was a treasure. He looked at me, confused. Then I whispered, "It's positive." He dropped his phone, hugged me, and sobbed. We both did. For the first time in a long time, I felt hope again. Then came Larry. Larry wasn't part of my life back then. I met him 2 years ago at a charity event through work. He was this goofy, warm-hearted guy who could make you laugh even when you didn't want to. We just clicked. He became my best friend, the kind of person who sends you stupid memes at 2 a.m. and shows up with coffee when you're having a bad day. Silas liked him at first. They'd even hung out a few times. But when I got pregnant, something shifted. Larry became too involved. He'd bring baby gifts, text me about nursery colors, and say things like, "We're finally going to meet the little one." I thought it was just excitement. I was hormonal, so I brushed it off. But Silas didn't. One night, Silas confronted me. "You and Larry, how close are you really?" His tone wasn't curious, it was cold. I laughed it off, but he didn't smile back. That night, he slept on the couch. A few days later, I noticed Larry acting strange too. He'd started dropping cryptic comments. Things like, "I'd do anything for you and the baby." When I told him that made me uncomfortable, he just smiled and said, "You'll understand soon." I didn't. Not until everything's a phone call. A woman from Child Protective Services asking if I'd be available for a wellness evaluation. I thought it was a scam until she mentioned my name, my address, and my pregnancy. Turns out someone had filed a report saying I was abusing prescription pills during pregnancy. I don't even take painkillers for headaches. I laughed at first, told her it was a mistake. But when I got home, I saw Silas sitting at the kitchen table with a folder full of legal documents, custody papers, filed under his name for our unborn child. When I asked what the hell was going on, he didn't even flinch. "You need help, Sasha. You're not stable." I thought he was joking, until he said, "Larry and I already talked to a lawyer. We're filing for guardianship." Guardianship. My husband and my best friend. Against me. I couldn't even process it. My hands went numb. The room spun. They both stood there. Larry silent, Silas calm like he was discussing dinner plans. I screamed. I threw the folder at them. "You can't take my baby." Larry's face twisted. "You shouldn't raise a child alone. You're too emotional, Sasha." That's when it hit me. They'd planned this. They'd been planning it. I kicked them out that night. Silas went willingly. Larry lingered at the door like he wanted to say something. But I slammed it shut. The next morning, I went straight to a lawyer. He said it was going to be tough, because in some states, the father can file for custody before the baby is even born. And if they could prove I was unfit, I could lose my child. Over the next few weeks, my life became a legal nightmare. I had to take drug tests, meet with social workers, and document everything. Silas's lawyer filed motion after motion, claiming I had a history of mental instability. It was all lies. Larry even produced fake messages, text screenshots where I supposedly admitted the baby was his. He claimed we'd had an affair during my marriage. The worst part? Some of the messages looked real. They'd used AI or editing tools, something that made it almost impossible to disprove immediately. I was terrified, exhausted, pregnant and alone. I lost friends. Some believed Silas's version. My own parents told me to work things out for the baby. but there was no working things out. I saw what he was capable of. Then, about 4 months into my pregnancy, my lawyer called. "We found something," she said. Silas and Larry had been emailing a private adoption agency. They were trying to arrange an adoption behind my back. They wanted to sign my baby away for money, $50,000. Larry's name was listed as the primary father. When that came out in court, the room went silent. The judge looked at me with this kind of pity I'll never forget. Silas tried to argue that it was a misunderstanding. Larry broke down crying in the courtroom. He admitted they'd planned to protect the baby from me, but claimed Silas pushed the idea. I didn't care who was worse. They were both monsters to me. The case dragged for 6 months. Every penny of my savings went to legal fees. My pregnancy was filled with anxiety instead of joy. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, clutching my belly, whispering to my baby that I wouldn't let anyone take her away. When I finally gave birth, a healthy baby girl, I remember crying so hard I couldn't even hold her right away. I kept saying, "You're safe now. You're safe." The judge granted me full custody. Silas's parental rights were temporarily suspended pending investigation. Larry took a plea deal for falsifying legal documents and left town. I haven't seen either of them since. The divorce came shortly after. Silas didn't even show up. I signed the papers with one hand while holding my daughter, Hope, in the other. Now, it's just us. I moved into a small apartment with creaky floors and sunlight that pours through the windows in the morning. I sold my car to pay off some debts and started freelancing from home. It's not glamorous, but it's peaceful. Sometimes I still wake up in a cold sweat, remembering the way Silas's voice sounded when he told me I was unfit, or the way Larry's eyes avoided mine when I begged him to tell the truth. But then I look at Hope, my daughter with her tiny fists and sleepy smiles, and I realize I don't need to understand why they did it. I just need to make sure she grows up loved, protected, and never doubting her worth. I won't lie. I'm still angry. I still flinch when someone mentions trust. I still wonder how two people I cared for so deeply could turn me into their target. But anger doesn't raise a child. Love does. And I have more of that than they'll ever understand. So yeah, they tried to take my baby, my unborn child. But what they didn't realize, what they never understood, is that I'm a mother now. And there's nothing stronger than a mother who's been forced to fight for her child. Because I didn't just win custody, I got my life back.